2020, can't even start. We're going off that. 2025, we're back. Kirk, I missed you.
I missed you too.
Mate, I know we had the Fleur episode last week, but behind the curtains, that was recorded last year. So we're back, 2025.
Time jump.
Mate, have you been at the beach?
I have.
You got a nice glow to you. He's got like this beautiful like clay shirt on, like drapey shirt.
I'm feeling breezy.
Yeah, you're looking breezy.
Compliment City here. I feel like I'm going to get a real big slap back to earth later on the podcast. But welcome back. You're looking fantastic as well.
Oh, thank you so much.
Sensational.
I think we're all just feeling relaxed. We had some time off and everyone's just rejuvenated, glowing.
Liam's hair's grown a bit.
Oh, it's
I don't know.
curly.
Camera producer Liam that we can show. Okay, sweet. Yeah, sweet.
I mean, honestly, we got some similar curls going on.
My hair's grown a bit.
Yeah.
Since we were last here.
Are you going the Fabio? You going longer?
I am, but there's another element to this as well.
Yeah.
I can't afford to go to the barber anymore. The barber for me, my hair grows insanely quick.
Yeah.
Like insanely quick. And I have to go every 2 or 3 weeks and like get my beard trimmed as well if I want to maintain a certain look.
Yeah.
And I can't I can't reasonably justify that anymore.
My barber does the touch-up appointment. So you can do your appointment, then like 3 weeks later go in and for like half the price, he just does like the quick buzz on the sides and leaves the top.
Yeah, I'm going the budget option, the economy class, grow it. I'll trim my own beard. We'll get it. It's kind of, maybe that's like, there's similarities between that and coffee. So I'm not going to have coffee.
Grow out the party. Grow out the party at the back, Kirky.
He's suggesting
Grab the mullet. Yeah, join us.
You know what we haven't said yet?
We haven't said, it's just coffee. Welcome back to 2025. I'm Rohan Cooke.
And I'm Kirk Pearson.
And again, it's just coffee. So in this week's episode, we're going to dive into what the future of coffee holds for 2025. We're doing everything from the commercial industry all the way to home brewers. We'll speculate wildly, but with some facts because that's how we roll. So a little bit from column A, a little bit from column B. Not only that, huge news. Guess what, guys? I have the results from Ancestry for if Kirk is Italian.
Oh my God.
So we are going to finally find out definitively if he's been hanging it over me. Making fun of me. Are you Italian? What do you think? What's your prediction? We'll do it later in the show, but I want to know how you're feeling.
What do you mean? He literally claims it.
I know he claims
it. 6 point whatever.
Sometimes when the truth is coming at you like a freight train, sometimes people get a little scared.
Well, let's get a bit of context here. Australia's a relatively young country in the grand scheme of things. Mm-hmm. We've been here since the 1700s, if that. And so, I mean, like there's a lot of people debate like what is an Australian? So like, obviously we've got the indigenous culture that's here, then European settlers and obviously colonization. And then so there's the genetic makeup of a lot of like, Anglo-white Australians. Like, I mean, a lot of us probably don't know.
Yeah.
I'm definitely a settler. Like, I'm definitely, a convict family. Like, I'm not from Regal. Like, I was sent here, my family was sent here years ago, not by choice.
I don't know anything about your background, but I would definitely say you're a convict.
Okay, yeah, all right, thank you. So I am very nervous, and I 100%, ladies and gentlemen, do not know. I do not know. We're saving this to the end of the pod, and I'm really looking forward to it. But there is one piece of news that I do have to inform the listeners on.
Oh, yeah,
we had another little wager. Yeah, we did. That was the shred. So Rowan's been, going on and on with the shred for a very long time.
Yeah.
And we kind of had a bit of an arrangement, a bet live on air that whoever...
Which I also looked back at that bet and it made no sense whatsoever. I was like 4 kilos heavier than you and then we set a target and I'm like, wait, I got to lose 4 more kilos.
You agreed
I did.
Anyhow, so I've reached the goal.
You've reached the goal?
I am 80 kilograms.
I need a scale. Once again, much like Ancestry.com, I need a scale.
We can do that.
Okay.
We can absolutely.
What was the wager? I have to wear a Pikachu costume to go get coffee?
Yeah, so you will now have to come to breakfast with me dressed as Pikachu and we'll document it. We'll document it as best as we can. Pika.
I also
give us your best Pika. Pika. Come on,
he hasn't lost yet.
Come on, just give us one little quick.
Rogo's on a water fasting.
Use Thunderbolt.
I also want to call out that was our first Anyhouser of the year.
Yeah, first Anyhouser. But
do we need to have like a tally sheet?
People are taking shots at home.
Yeah.
You know what's annoying about that? I now get people coming into the cafe saying Anyhouser. So that's number 2.
Well, I love that. I love hearing that.
Well, Liam, I got some bad news for you. We will not be playing your coffee news sound this week because there is no coffee news, but it's kind of within our predictions for the year. So what we're going to do is we're going to kick off. Kirk, being a, cafe owner, working in a bar, he's going to cover the kind of the cafe side of things, the industry side of things, and I'm going to cover the predictions for the home coffee market. We're going to go through, speculate wildly, chat at each other, give our opinions. We'll go from there. So we'll start with commercial.
Let's start commercial. And now this is the greatest week to start the week of podcasting. And this will be an annual tradition for us from now on, I'm sure. This is predictions week. Dreams are made in predictions week. Failures are made in predictions week. Embarrassment can be caused. And honestly, we can both have it shoved back in our face. And look, I'll let people in a little bit of showbiz. Every now and then when you make yourself look like a dickhead on a podcast, it's kind of good for that podcast. But, I digress. This is predictions week. We've got some crazy predictions. I can't wait for you to hear them. I can't wait for you to disagree with them. So without further ado, let's get into it. The price of a standard flat white in Melbourne this year will reach $600,000.
Yeah, I think that's about right.
Just joking.
I think that's about right.
But I got into a bit of a sparring match with a CEO on Instagram, on LinkedIn last night about some of that.
Oh my God. I need to follow your comments on LinkedIn.
Oh,
they sound unhinged.
LinkedIn is absolutely just, I don't know. I don't even understand it. But anyway, let's get into the predictions.
Yeah.
Predictions.
Wait, what was the sparring match though? Don't let me hang it.
All right. Well, he was saying, I won't name names, but he was saying that the cost of a coffee by the end of this year will be $8 to $12. And I politely asked him, I said,
not politely, let's be honest.
No, I did. I politely asked him. I said, how did you land on that figure? And where is your evidence that there's a $12 coffee in existence? And then, and I was kind of explaining, there's things like geishas, there's really high-end coffees that you charge a lot for. There's, $200 coffees out there. And he kind of hit me back and gave me facts from Starbucks in the US. Whoa. Well, that's the US. That's not Australia. I mean, they typically pay more for coffee everywhere in the world than Australia.
But also a coffee in the US is not $12.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, and then he sent me an article that was last updated 11 years ago to cite some points. And then,
because I saw there was a news article that came out stating this, that the average cost of coffee could hit $12. And all I could think of, because as someone who runs a coffee company, the prices are shooting up. Our coffee for green has pretty much doubled in cost. And so all I can predict is that people have seen that coffee prices green have doubled and therefore assume that the coffee's price will then double.
Here's the thing. Everyone's looking at the commodity market, journalists and bloody CEOs apparently now as well, and they see the commodity price. They see the increase by percentage year on year, which is over 50% from last year on the commodity price. Now, what that doesn't include is there's companies that have long-term contracts with producers that are pretty much paying well above that anyway. And I just booked some coffee with a green bean company yesterday, months in advance at pretty reasonable prices for specialty, and that is ethical, looks after the farmer.
Yep.
I can charge a reasonable price for as well. And there's just so much information that just misses the mark just because that coffee cost goes up, which is the commodity price, not specialty, which we deal in a lot. It doesn't automatically mean it will double in price. It's like, the coffee cost, which could be, 50 cents, that increases by a lot. So like that doubles and that's $1. Then you've got an extra 50 cents on your coffee. So there's just a lot of dumb misinformation out there.
So do you think there will be a price increase on average on coffee this year?
Yes, there will. Yep. But it doesn't mean there's going to be, $8, $9, $10 flat whites out there standard. That's a myth. It's not there. But having said that, let's get into the predictions. There will unfortunately be, prediction number one, there will unfortunately be a wave of cafe closures and restaurant closures in Melbourne and Sydney. The reason for that being, obviously, what we've just spoken about is one reason, but there's a whole host of other reasons, right? Like I think what people need to understand is there's a cost of living crisis going on. I just talked about my barber. Like I'm lessening my trips to the barber. And so people are making these conscious decisions. I'll get one less, and totally understandable. There's more important things sometimes than getting your latte in the morning. And so that unfortunately means some people won't make it. Some cafes won't make it. And we've spoken about at length as well. This is actually probably a good thing in some ways. right? It sounds very callous. No one
You
really
don't want
gets
to see anyone lose their job. You don't want to see anyone
no
shut
one wants
down.
to do that.
But,
So it will happen this year.
Yeah.
I think this is the year it happens.
Yeah.
Agree? Disagree?
yeah, I think I have to agree with you. There's so many factors that we've talked about. There was the whole work from home thing that we talked about last year as well that were going on. There's too many cafes for not enough people here at the moment, I think. And so I think you'll see cheaper cafe or cheaper options boom because people are looking for a bargain. I think you'll see high-end specialty with really unique offerings continue to do well because when people do decide they want to splurge, they want to go out and get something that's really nice. And it's just, unfortunately, the middle ground is what there's the most of and probably too much of, and people will still be going to cafes and that, but it definitely will pull back.
Yeah.
There definitely will be a pullback in the amount of times.
And we have this discussion all the time, right? Like there'll probably be a lot more people that get pushed to supermarket, 7-Eleven, petrol station coffee. That's okay. And I think there'll be a lot more people pushed to premium, really good stuff that'll probably cost, might even cost you $8. And those are the shops that'll be busier. It's that realm in the middle that might suffer the most. Now, as well, one thing that might be a bit of a, rebuttal to this point is that more people seem like they're returning to the office this year. Like there's a lot of, news media about companies compelling people to go back to work in the office three days a week, some full-time. So that might sort of prove me wrong, but I still think there's a wave of other economic factors.
3 days is still hard, and who knows what 3 days, and you can't predict when they're coming in.
And I got to give a shout out to the new Lord Mayor of Coffeetown, Nicholas Reese, as well. So he came in and visited me at the shop just randomly when he was campaigning, and we had a pretty good genuine conversation. But I think he's actually a pretty genuine guy who wants good things for the city because he's rallying and lobbying for the state government here to start getting public servants to come to work more. So a lot of Melbourne's employees in the city are public servants that don't really have to go to work. And look, it's not for me to say whether I think you should or shouldn't, but hey, I think that's leadership that would sort of that will help more people get secure work and create a better outcome for the economy. So I'm giving a shout out to 7-Eleven. Now, my next prediction,
here we go.
which was rebutted by myself even before the podcast started, kind of. I think matcha demand will drop off a little bit this year.
Oh, what a bold statement. What a bold statement. It might drop off a tiny bit.
Well, I had to revise and say I was going to, but...
really sticking to your guns strongly there.
Well, here's my thing. As a cafe owner in Melbourne, I can't fucking get it right now. I went to like a bunch of stores just then and I cannot get matcha because there's such high demand for it that and the price for that is pretty expensive.
Yeah, and a lot of places now are they're only selling one jar of matcha or whatever at a time because they can't keep up with the production demands of it on the farms and that kind of thing. So, yeah, I don't know about that one. I think matcha's probably entered like a bit of a drink staple, I think.
You think so?
I think it's hit.
Matcha's here forever?
I think it's an institution.
I've got a question for you.
Although I guess, I wonder what's happened to chai lattes. Because chai lattes...
chai's making a comeback, man.
I remember back when I first becoming in vogue, in like 2009, 2008. And it was like 1 out of every like 7 orders or 10 orders where we were was chai. But I don't think it's up there now.
Oh, yeah. Chai's, I reckon chai will have a glow up this year.
Okay.
It's young. But
it's a bit hard to prepare, right? Like if you're a barista, I remember there's the difference between there's powdered chai that's like not really chai, and then there's your loose leaf chai that's kind of the sticky wet stuff that you
at our cafe
brew.
we steep a liter at a time.
Yeah.
So then you've got like a sauce that's like, and it's the natural thing as well. So it'd be what you get served anyway if you were to make it individually.
Yeah, right.
And then we go through it in like a day anyway. So that's a much easier way to do it.
Much easier way.
Much easier way.
Good. That's actually such a great tip. I wish I did that. Did you do that when you worked at cafes?
I've got a question for you, for both of you, right? So we in coffee, we celebrate coffee from all over the world, right? Its OG location and one of the best spots is Ethiopia. Do you think matcha will be grown and sold outside of Japan, and will it be as good? Because one of the best things, if you were to say, the only real coffee is coffee from Ethiopia and Yemen, then it's like, well, then you'll miss out on the Panama geishas, the Bolivias, Seems pretty boring to me. What if the like matcha was to sort of expand outside of Japan and we like really,
I mean, surely they're doing that. Is it not grown outside of Japan now?
I don't know.
I mean, not that it's like it's not. If it is, it's not known about that.
But
well.
the best matcha's Uji matcha, UJI. I think UJI, and that's a region in Japan.
Yeah.
So
yes, I've got some matcha from there right now, and I only just recently found out the definition. I knew ceremonial was like some of the highest grade, but I didn't realize what the different grading systems were. And how it works is the best matcha is the brand new leaves that are sprouting on the top of the tea plant that are taken off. So they have the most what's
polyphenols.
no, what makes leaves green? The sun.
Photosynthesis.
Yeah, but what is it?
Chlorophyll.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's got the most of that. So that's why it's got that bright green color, the most flavor, the most sweetness. And then the lower the grade, the lower on the plant and the older the leaves are. And as they get less green, less potent, and that's why there's more dull matcha that's
just
cheaper.
nasty too. You get that logo
nasty.
stuff there. You don't want to be drinking that.
Yeah.
I was reading here, so like the origins of matcha is China, like where it started, but it flourished in Japan, and they're the two main kind of growers.
This is like the China saying they invented spaghetti.
Well, it says here, origin of matcha can be traced back to China during the Tang Dynasty in the 8th century.
Once again, China just coming through. We've got the Xiaolong Bao. We've got matcha.
True.
Am I Xiaolong Bao or ravioli? I forget.
You're ravioli.
Okay. all right.
Wanted to turn tail now. Wanted to turn tail.
Okay. All right.
Actually, I had a Xiaolong Bao the other day. Pretty good.
Very good. Very good.
Oh, wait, did I tell you Din Tai Fung shut down?
What's that?
That's like the masters of the Xiaolong Bao.
Oh.
Yeah.
It was at the top of Emporium.
Oh, sorry to hear.
They were ripping off all their staff, and I think they shut down.
Oh, well, I mean.
Hold on, before you jump ahead, I like going back on what you're saying, like, will we enjoy or do we expect matcha to be grown outside? Like you, Ro, I was like, surely it is being grown around the world, but similar to, Tassie's one of the only other places that has a similar climate to Japan that grows wasabi. Tasmania is one of the biggest.
So Tasmania could low-key be like the good shit for matcha.
I could probably look it up, but why isn't it being grown elsewhere? Is that
I'm sure it is
to climate?
But like, coffee's proven that it can be grown in like certain conditions so well, and it's like better. Like one of the good parts about it is you get a different expression of it from Panama versus Ethiopia.
Well, the Panama, like the famous coffees now were the plant from Ethiopia, right? Is it SL28 came across?
Oh, can't even remember.
Yeah. I think it's from Ethiopia and it got like transplanted.
No, you're talking about Bon and Typica.
Okay.
So yeah, that's way back. SL28 was a cultivar developed in a lab.
Right.
But I think you're right. That's amazing. If it does end up getting grown around, we'll just see varieties
you will see us in the title registry of Australia purchasing land in Tasmania to grow matcha. It'll be pretty lucrative.
And some wasabi.
Let's all invest in that. Let's grow some matcha. All right.
Awesome.
Next prediction. The commodity price for coffee by the end of 2025 will drop below $3 US per pound. And it will stay in the high $2 per pound for the foreseeable future. I'm talking years.
Years?
Yeah.
Where do you get this from?
Look, we just got to make some fucking predictions every now and then, Rohan. But I do actually suspect. Like, how can we know really?
Yeah.
How can we really know? Last year was a one-off. I've been to Brazil in 2018 when the exact opposite happened. Rain happened at a certain point during harvest. 30% increase of yield total. So they produced 30% more coffee than the previous year. So it was a massive oversupply, and the price collapsed. So this is what some people need to remember. What makes me say it will stay high for the foreseeable future is the increased demand in coffee. Mm-hmm. But there could this is life after 2020 makes me think you can't rule anything out. There could be some event something Trump does or some war that breaks out, some shit that happens that increases the price and that we don't even know is going to happen.
Yeah,
and that could happen. That is entirely on the cards, and that would obviously make me look like a dickhead for what I just said. But that's my prediction.
Yeah.
Agree? Disagree? No. Have you got a take on it?
I have no take on it. I don't know.
All right. My next prediction.
I would say probably not is more my prediction, but let's see. Let's unpack this one at the end of the year.
My next prediction is 7-Eleven coffee in Australia will cost $3 at some point in 2025.
Yeah.
So it was a few years ago, it was $1. And then they increased it to $2. And it wasn't even because of a massive coffee cost increase then. I mean, there was probably a modest one, but milk was probably the bigger thing for them because milk had a serious increase in price during the pandemic. But then now you look at 7-Eleven, who buys pretty much exclusively commodity coffee, which is now you can actually put yourself into the argument where like this might actually increase by 50% or 100% in cost because like that's pretty much, if you get a 7-Eleven espresso, that's it. That's the cost.
Yep.
There's the machines and stuff, but like that's the raw goods. So my hot take is that they'll be $3 in the future.
Yeah, my argument against it that I could argue myself out of is that it's a loss leader for them, that they're just like, we just want to get people in the door. It's like, oh, I'll get my coffee, I'll fill up my tank with petrol. Oh, I'll get my coffee, I'll go buy XYZ that I need to. So to me, it's always just a way to get people like into 7-Eleven that weren't going there before. So I'm like, why would they raise it? Because who cares about the money they're making off that? But then the other side of me goes, if coffee prices do hit that, you know, on average $6 for a takeaway coffee, even if it is $3, that's still half the price of going to the cafe. Like people are still going to be like, well, I'm saving half the price.
We have been planning to do a video on why 7-Eleven coffee is not really as good as a cafe coffee. And I really want to test the TDS of a 7-Eleven espresso because it's highly likely that they use half the coffee and that's why it has half the strength and tastes like 1% as good.
Yeah.
So like we really need to do it.
I think we could probably do that. We should do it at 7-Eleven and then throw in some other ones. Do a Macca's, do a Coles, and then do maybe like a couple, like do Project Zero and maybe another cafe. Just maybe a 5, run a test, see what it's like, and see that flavor thing. Because half the people drinking from 7-Eleven, surely the one argument they might not like is it doesn't have as much caffeine. I feel like they're just like, they want their 7-Eleven coffee because they want their caffeine hit. But it'd be interesting to measure the caffeine, the 7-Eleven coffee.
That's so true.
Well, if it was half the concentration, it's half the caffeine, really.
Yeah.
So, I mean.
I was going to like, just to, again, argue against that. I feel like a lot of people actually talk about 7-Eleven coffee as it's actually pretty good in comparison to like a lot of places.
Do they?
Yeah, I've heard that. Like people are like, oh, I like if I exactly
I've
that.
Never
If I need a cafe, like a caffeine hit, and like milk's actually pretty good. Like it's all these things.
I mean, they're all Eversys, right?
Not 7-Eleven.
Okay.
I don't think
that's Coles. Coles is the Eversys.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So like maybe is this just like the fact that they're actually doing pretty well, and they're like, well, if people are buying it and it's popular, let's just like put it up that $1 because people are still going to buy it. We're just going to make kind of like.
Yeah, but those businesses thrive off having cheap things that, like Rohan was saying, loss leader, brings you in the door for other things. We'll see. All right, next prediction. There will be a wave of product innovation and innovations in coffee this year that will excite us. So I'm talking equipment, I'm talking innovation at origin, I'm talking like things with your point of sale system, all sorts of things. There is going to be a wave of like new pieces of equipment developed and they'll make the job so much easier this year. I think there's still so much more room to grow in coffee machines.
Yeah.
There's super automatics that we got now, right?
Yep.
But there will be super automatics 5 years from now that are just like that. Who knows? Maybe one gets released this year, but they'll be able to do so much. And this is kind of something that the cafes in Melbourne will embrace a lot, I think, because if you need to reduce your costs, which we do, and there's only so much you can do with cutting your staff that work there each day, or you can't really skimp out on coffee and milk if you really want to maintain your product. So what we did at our cafe, we sort of developed this recipe that would use 30 to 40% less, and it's like, all right, we need to do that so we can compete, we can save some money. I think there'll be a lot of machines that probably are developed that, or maybe even they begin development this year. They'll be able to extract more from coffee. So maybe there's a future where we revisit roast profiles and we revisit extraction, and we figure out ways to make coffee go so much further.
Right. Get more out of the product that's in front of you.
Yes. So we need. There has to be a way. There has to be a way that we can figure that out. And wouldn't that be good? Like we just we just use less. And then, you know, when weather conditions affect us, then, you know, the variation, the problem, that won't be as heavy as a hit for us.
Well, I mean, that was like the opposite side when I was first working in specialty coffee. It's like the double ristretto was the boom, and it was like using a 21 gram dose to get a 21 gram yield single shot, and you're just like burning through coffees. You're like, we're doing 100 kg a week.
Yeah, and it's like you could get so much further. Look, your customers might like that, and it works for you. And I'm not here to like really shit on people. And look, if you're selling plenty of coffee doing that, obviously you don't need to take advice from us. But
that was actually one of my biggest takeaways from last year. I reckon I love that comparison because that was such a telltale of like the success of a cafe was how much you went through, and now it's really flipping on its head. It's like how efficient are you? With the, like, you know what I mean?
Like, how much milk do you use? Yeah, well, how much are you throwing down the drain?
Exactly.
Yeah, how much did you save? Like, not how much did you use? How much did you save? That should be the better metric.
I saw an amazing place that was taking every time someone finished with the milk, they poured it into a jar, and then the chefs were turning it into like the milk into a smoked cheese or something that they were serving like as part of their breakfast. You're like, that's pretty cool.
But this is the thing about products like Uber Milk, for example. They dose it all for you, so like you waste very little. Yeah. It's excellent.
Yeah.
So
I love hearing stories of that though. Like, you know, like just integrating other parts of your business to like repurpose like waste.
Yeah.
Because it's not really waste. Yeah. It's exactly that.
And if it's a sustainable thing that they can continue to do, it's not like, oh, we made a coffee scrub out of your coffee grounds and then now we can't be bothered. Like, you know, if it's a sustainable thing that they do, hats off to them. Look, next prediction. Commercial coffee equipment companies will continue to try and cater to the home coffee market.
I had a very similar one to this. Yeah,
well,
so we can double talk here.
Let's. I invite you into this one. So I heard someone at La Marzocco say last year, 55% of our business is now at home. So I hope they don't mind me saying that. But that's a company that, I don't know, let's say 6 years ago, maybe it was like 95% commercial. I don't know. I'd love to figure that out. But that's a huge swing at the pendulum. And
I've been to the production line. I've seen them whipping out the La Marzocco minis and Micras and that kind of thing. Yeah. It's insane.
And I like that. I like how a company can be so dynamic like that, right? Like it's been 2 or 3 years and you've just had to shift so quickly and like and you've pivoted and you've succeeded. So I like that.
Yeah, and you'll continue. It'll be interesting to see how they try to do it. You know, you've seen Mazza come into the market with the Mazza Philos, the single dose grinder. You've seen Victoria Arduino. You've seen Slayer, Synesso. I think all of these companies are like trying to do that at home market. It must be a lot harder though in that higher end one to try to get a piece when everyone's spending, you know, $4,000 to $6,000 espresso machines. That's a tough one to crack, especially when, you know, you look at Mazda Philos. It's pretty reasonably priced for the quality of that grinder. But then you have all your Varies, your Time Wars, et cetera, your niche.
What's your pound for pound favorite at home coffee grinder right now?
My favorite one at the moment is I've been using the Varia BS6 at home, but the Mazda Philos is like just a good piece of machinery.
Jack Simpson would be thrilled hearing you say that.
It's the grounds are so fluffy on it. Yeah. Like so nice. The burrs, I've got in the 200 burrs, so you're getting that really nice clarity, similar to the SSPs or whatever with that kind of long tooth.
What does one of those set you back?
The grinder? Oh, what is it, like 1.5 or something?
Okay. It's investment.
Which isn't, you know, but most of those grinders are in that 1,000-ish to...
I got to say, I really like the La Marzocco Pico that you had.
Oh, so that's my favorite hopper grinder.
Okay, because that's like you can single dose grind, right? And that's excellent if you're brewing at home, I think.
Yeah, you could just single dose and throw it in if you wanted.
Yeah, you waste so much less coffee. So for espresso or filter, that seems like the good one for me. And they make pretty good coffee.
Yeah.
I was just thinking the way you were just chatting there, I feel like there would be a really good kind of if someone had like different like levels of budget to set up your like a coffee station at home. Like say they had like the starting one is like at $1,000, next one is at 2, 3, 4, 5 going up.
Oh, yeah.
And which percentage you would put for certain equipment. So, and we're talking going from scratch. So it's like if you had $1,000, where would the biggest part be? Like would you invest in going into a good grinder, then a pretty good like machine and then like $2,000. Okay, where does that split and going up range? That'd be really great.
I'm going to start an argument right here, right now. So if you were going to, like, let's say you got $1,000. I think if you've got $1,000 and you're wanting to like get a home set up, just go filter coffee.
Yeah.
Like if you can make with $1,000 getting a setup within within a week, if you've never made a coffee before, you can be making world-class filter coffee as good as almost any cafe at home.
Because I will, like, I'll disagree with you on the side of, like, if you're someone like the majority of people that just want a latte and a flat white, Breville Barista Express, $800, inbuilt grinder, does whatever you want. But in terms of, like, actual, like, coffee nerdery and that, you don't, to be making what, you know, world champions would be making, you don't need very much of a setup. The best thing would just be like a good hand grinder.
Yep. And it's portable.
And then like a V60 or an AeroPress is what, like 20 to 50 bucks?
Yep. It's portable. So you can take it anywhere.
Yep.
All the best coffees in the world are roasted for filter coffee. So that's another thing that works
You
on
don't
your side.
need that much money on a kettle. You could literally just use your home kettle if you're worried about it.
And your chances of making a flat white at home as good as a barista can, let's just say at my cafe, if you're making 3 coffees a day for a year, you got no chance. Like you need to be making like a lot of coffee to get to that level. And you know the commercial setups, like when they're plumbed in, pressure's done, you've got it dialed in. Like you don't have as easy of a chance as having as good of a coffee, like cafe standard at home.
Well,
but if you got filter, you definitely do.
We'll get to my take later once we get in the home section. But you keep going.
Okay. Last prediction from me. Okay. Last Kirk prediction, industry one. Coffee roasters will experience their most tumultuous year yet. Now, we had Uncle Caleb Holstein on the podcast a few months ago, and he kind of, I've spoken to him since then, and he's kind of pointed out that the supply of coffee right now is in a situation where the spot market is, which is where like a roaster, for example, can just go to a coffee importer and say, oh, you've got a couple of bags of this coffee on the shelf. I'll buy it right here, right now. Here's the money, yada, yada, yada. You're not going to be able to do that so much anymore. And that's because the importers need to be able to forecast what they're buying. They need to have the cash to be able to sort of purchase that as well, because of course you need to pay these farmers for their goods. So like, farmers get the lump sum of payment. It needs to last them for like a year or whatever. So I think if coffee, and I totally 100% agree with Caleb, you might find yourself in a position as a coffee roaster where if you haven't secured it, you literally won't be able to buy coffee to sell to your customers.
Yeah, wow.
So it's going to be a wild year.
It is going to be a crazy year, yeah. So,
and I literally worked with one of the importers that I work with yesterday and secured some coffees for the next year. And she sort of said to me, look, you're not, spot market doesn't exist anymore for us.
Yeah.
So on that, like, you know, one of your predictions before were like there's going to be cafes that shut down because exactly things like that. They're not going to be able to like buy in and like get the sales and the beans that they need. So one of our biggest hot takes was that some of the specialty coffee and cafes are using Aldi blends and like these available blends that are like, you could say that's a spot purchase, right? You're going in, you're like, I just need this. Or like, I know they're actively like using them in-house, but when they don't get those sales and, you know, they can't forecast those things. So they rely on, you know, the bigger businesses and they're going like day to day. They're like, oh, we just need to be able to make coffee.
But this is more of a thing from a roaster. Like, imagine you're a roaster and you've got cafes that they're relying on you. They're fixed into a contract with you, like, and they can't supply you. Like that's a bit of a nightmare. And there's a lot of financial risk that I don't think people acknowledge in this as well, because a lot of roasters in Australia, they also supply equipment, and they don't own that equipment because it's worth tens of thousands of dollars. They have to get like finance on that. Yeah. And then so a lot of companies in Melbourne and Sydney have finance on equipment that, I don't know, if all these cafes go broke and can't service their loans, maybe there's a huge risk there that like, maybe that's like GFC mini territories like for specialty coffee, because like so many cafes get their...
I mean, that's what happened in COVID. Yeah. All these cafes shut down and all these companies had like machines at these places and they were just...
But you think of the wholesale coffee roasters that give like ridiculous deals and it's predicated on like getting free equipment. And then the coffee price spikes how it is now and sales reduce. Like that could be a shitstorm. that could be a real shitstorm. Be interested to see how that plays out.
Well, Kirk, thank you for those predictions. And we've got the at-home predictions coming at you. We've also got Kirk's ancestry background coming at you later in the pod. For now,
it's like 20 minutes away.
I've just got to talk about a special sponsor that cares a lot about your ancestry background. Our friends over at ecobarista.com.au. Man, these guys not only making some of the best coffee bags, cups and that, but it's all eco-friendly stuff. They got recyclable. They got compostable. We make our bags with them. Beautiful bags. We got these made with them 3 years ago, completely custom made. Liam's doing some hand gestures at me. I don't know
Just
what that is.
hold that bag a bit closer to you.
Oh, there you go.
Right there we go. Now we can see it. Look at that.
Okay,
Look at that bag.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Kirk is getting some bags, cups made right now. He's showing me some designs. They're looking good.
Yep.
Get them made so we can have them on the pod. I want to show them
look,
off.
I'm working on it. But, all good things take time.
Yep.
And Uncle Russ is cooking. We know Uncle Russ is
Uncle Russ is cooking.
It's
true.
So I'm getting but it's, it's summer right now, right?
Yep.
So I've got my iced latte cups that look real good. And I've said it on the podcast before, it's got to be big. You got to be able to shake it. You got to have that Hoshizaki ice.
Got to have the little ice shake
Those
sound.
Eco Barista cups, everyone in Melbourne should be using them.
Yeah,
Everyone in Melbourne should
absolutely.
be
And if you want to use them or you want to get them for your cafe or roastery, then you just go to ecobarista.com.au and you get 15% off your first purchase.
How good is that? 15% off your first purchase.
Bargain. Russ, how are you doing it?
Yeah,
You're giving it away.
What's the question you usually ask me?
Oh, I just normally, it's more of a personal question, but I just wanted to know, are you an eco warrior?
No, I'm not. I'm an Eco Barista.
Oh, it's still here. 2025.
That's going to be the best ad read yet.
2025.
Gorgeous.
And we're back with predictions.
What are your predictions?
We're moving to the home market over here. So, we'll start off easy. We'll start off with these are definitely going to happen and we're seeing them. Then we'll move on and we'll get a bit more wild as we go through them. At home boom, continue. We've talked about this. The coffee prices are going up. More people are going to be buying it at home. And that's just going to keep on going up and up. An example of this is I went into a cafe the other day. Great. Got a geisha. It was $18 for the cup. Geisha's expensive. That's completely fine. I should pay that. I wanted to pay that. But I can buy the bag of geisha for $30 for 150 grams of that coffee. So you're doing the math. So I'm like, if I make 10 coffees at home in the cafe, that's $180 versus $30. So if people are trying to save those ducats, they're going to be buying those bags and taking them. But if you do it, go and support your local roaster. Go and buy some coffee from them.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to get the real good stuff. It's quite affordable, really, to go buy a good bag of coffee and use it for a week or two and, not have a problem. It's very affordable.
Yep.
So... this is probably where the biggest room for improvement in cafes is. And, we've spoken about it on the pod before. Get that equipment in. One thing I will say is that equipment suppliers that supply to cafes, like you buy your kettles and whatnot, they should probably start giving cafes better terms on buying this stuff. Because if a cafe wants to go buy things and they want to go buy equipment and you go buy $2 or $3 grand worth of stuff to put on the shelf, you don't immediately get the cash flow back from that. It's quite difficult for cafes to do that.
And you're making so little money on it because a company is selling it to a distributor who's selling it to a cafe. So everyone needs to make money there.
Yeah, there's some margin, but yeah, you're right. And
Not
so
much.
there's only so many kettles or something you'll sell in a day at a cafe. But I think things like consignment, there's probably a bit more collaboration and understanding between suppliers and cafes and stuff there that will make that that'll remove the barriers for entry for sure.
Yeah, agree with that. My next one is the year of assisted coffee. It is going to keep growing and growing and growing. I'm talking grind size recommendation, assisted tamping, assisted brew ratio recommendations, all these things of that beginner market is growing so much at home. And we're going to continue to see those bigger brands add to that, whether it be Breville, DeLonghi, Ninja, whatever it is. The year of assisted is growing. And to that, I think this is more of a wild speculation. I think it's fully automated machines are getting a glow up, and we're going to start seeing fully automated machines that actually make espresso. Because at the moment, if you're buying any of those DeLonghi fully automated, whatever, they're making you espresso adjacent drinks. They're
making lungos?
Yeah, they're making lungos. These things are 1 to 4. They're using less coffee. It's not like a real espresso in the sense of like, the ratios.
So when you say 1-4, that's 1 part coffee, 4 parts water. So it's like a lot more water than usual.
And so it's really watered down. So it's almost between espresso and drip coffee almost, which I'm not saying it tastes bad, but I'm saying that fully automated machines are going to be making espresso style coffee this year with better milk as well.
And that if you're getting something that makes you something on a 1-4 ratio at home and you put milk with it, like that dilute, like you want espresso for making a milk drink to be concentrated and strong.
Yeah.
If you're doing it watery, it's weak and nasty. I can't have that.
Yeah.
Can't have that.
So automated machines are coming at you this year, 2025.
Yeah, okay.
Exciting.
We talked about this, commercial continuing to push into that market, but the struggle is all those smaller companies that are making those slightly cheaper grinders, your Varias, your Time Wars and that kind of stuff, because they make a really good quality grinder. So
there's a lot more people getting into like the coffee grinder market or something. Sorry, a lot more businesses like creating stuff, isn't there? Yeah. I always say new one. I can't keep up.
So that leads me into my next prediction, which this isn't really a prediction, maybe more this grinds my gears. There's too much coffee gear. There is too many grinders. There are too many things coming out. And my main problem is that they're kind of all the same thing. They're kind of all the same grinder coming out in different bodies. I'm fine with seeing new coffee gear come out, but I want it to be innovations that fill a hole, that do something different. I don't want to see 18. Last year, there must have been a coffee grinder that came out every day.
Probably, yeah.
It was wild to see. But I look at a company like Subminimal and they do the NanoFoamer Pro, which is like the little whisk that makes cafe quality milk. That's filling a void. That's filling something that's changed. They released the subscale, the dosing cup. Have you seen that? So it's like a dosing cup with an invisible screen on the inside. Put the beans in and it weighs it. And you get the little readout on that. So these new kind of different things that even if it's not 100% necessary, at least it's something different that maybe fills a void that people might need.
I don't make coffee at home. What's one of the biggest annoyances about making coffee at home?
Mess is a big one, especially like with machines and different grinders that coffee is overfilling out. It's falling out the sides. You got to add all the different parts on. It's falling into the drip tray. And you get a messy home bench, and that is one of the biggest annoyances with it. And they're coming in with different funnels, like Breville now and the Barista Express has a funnel that clicks on top. So when you grind in, falls in, you tamp with it, and then you take it off. So there is things coming in, but that's one of the most annoying things.
I get some of the ick drinking coffee at home. I get home coffee ick. Yeah. Like I could be drinking the same coffee at home as I drink at a cafe with friends, but I enjoy it at the cafe at friends more than I do at home.
What part about it?
I don't know, like my apartment's dark, I'm just like, not much sunlight. And I was like, And, imagine there's probably myriad other people in that situation. But then there's also like, for me, the community is what it's all about. Like my tolerance for coffee is actually becoming less and less as I age, wonderfully like I do. But, I don't know. It's just, I don't, I think I've said this on the podcast before, but I don't brew coffee at home. And I do that for a very specific reason. So I have continue to have a great relationship with it. Like I try and restrict it from home. So it's like an out of home thing. That's my thing.
Well, that's where I have the other side of it, where I have a coffee company and I do home coffee. So I'm like, the amount of money you spend on coffee out that I'm like, I'm making it better at home myself anyway. And this leads to my prediction that was against yours. This is the year home baristas are making better coffee than cafes. And, I can talk about your cafe being at like, a higher level, but I'll talk about cafes in a general sense. I know I'm making a better coffee off an $800 piece of junk than most coffees I'd get out with a $24,000, La Marzocco on the bench. And so I just know that is like what I've had. And you're seeing it more and more where people are just like, they're making it for themselves. They're passionate about it. They're loving it. They're dialing it into exactly what they want. And so they're having a better experience at home than they'd have in a cafe, especially with like the bitter barista who's not happy, the person who doesn't want to be there, the understaffed cafe who are in a rush, so they're just slapping it in there and going in. You got someone at home who's like weighing out their beans. They know what they've picked. They know what they want to do. They're steaming it to the temperature they like, and they know exactly what they want. They make it, and they're like, I'm not getting anything like this.
Okay, I'm trying to think whether I agree or disagree with you, but
I think we can agree that the higher end cafes are obviously going to do it better. I'm talking in a general sense.
Yeah, I think I'll stand on what I said before in that, like, for filter coffee and things like that, absolutely. But, yeah, things that take a little bit more skill, like milk, I think that'll be a struggle for a lot of people to make it better than.
Yeah, but you get into things like the Nanofoamer Pro Gen 2 that automatically textures your milk for you. And then some people would even argue that tastes better because steaming milk adds water to it.
Yeah.
The Nanofoamer doesn't add any water. It just
100%.
textures it. So it's richer, it's creamier. You're getting better and better in automatic steaming. The Morning Dream machine that I tested out, which isn't cheap, but when you automatically steam on that, the texture is incredible on it. So we're starting to see more things where the skill level is getting taken away from the barista or that needed skill level. The new Ninja Luxe weighs your beans for you, and then when you extract it, it measures the yield and then gives you a grind recommendation. So you're starting to get these things taken away, and maybe sometimes people just like it more because they made it. You know, the IKEA thing of like, I made this flat pack thing, so I love it because I put it together. All right. Anything more on that?
Oh, well, yeah, look, I think like I said before, I think those businesses that set themselves up really well, yeah, for sure. I think I agree with you 100% on the attitude thing. I think it'll mostly be centered around, like, you know, do you treat me well when I come? That'll be the decision whether I come back or not.
Yeah, agreed with that.
I think I agree too.
Oh, I went to Bricko just down the road here and I had dinner there, loved it. And I'm like, why did I love it? Was the food that good? Was it this? I was like, no, they were just so nice. Like I came in and they were like, hey, how's your day? Oh, we've got a beautiful spot out in the courtyard. And they were just coming out, having a lovely chat. And I was like, oh, I don't feel like they hate me and want to kick me out of their restaurant and hate me for being here.
Yeah, sometimes people just want to retreat as soon as they've seen you.
Yeah.
Right? They're like, fall back. I offered him some water, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
or just like rolling your eyes when you ask for a table. Like, oh, I guess.
I actually went to I got to give a cafe a shout out as well. I went to a cafe in Brunswick yesterday called Osoi, OSOI, and had the best matcha yet. So I'm trying with a matcha.
Okay,
and
that's good.
That was my best one yet. It was a Genmai matcha.
Yep. Well, shout out. I went into, if we're just doing shout outs, I went into Bench the other day in the city. They were lovely. They must have known the pot or whatever. They didn't say anything, but they just started bringing me out multiple coffees and doing that.
Were you flying after?
I was flying.
Yeah.
They were just like, we just brewed up this one here on the batch. You get a bit of this into you. But they were lovely. And they had, the coffees were great. It was fresh batch brew that was like, wouldn't have known it was a batchy. Booming with flavor, super juicy. Loved it. All right, back to it here. Pod coffee is on the way out. And it's a ripoff.
Ooh, whoa.
An espresso pod costs you over $1 and it has 5 grams of coffee in it. They're making so much money off this. Just for the people listening at home, the average, like a double shot of coffee, if you're out in a cafe, probably has between 19 to 21 grams of coffee in it. Single shot, what are you doing? 10 to 12 grams, that kind of thing. So I think people are starting to, I think home espresso machines are getting more affordable and cheap enough that people can upgrade to it. And I think they're going to be ditching their pod machines, moving up to that and getting into some real espresso.
Hey. Yeah, right. I would have thought that pods would be popular, continue to be popular because they're so convenient, right? Just whack, bang.
But then people are getting into the environmental side of it as well. Like, you know, just all the wastage being thrown out.
From the cartridges and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
I mean, I saw reusable ones. You know, there's like the...
Yeah, but they're crap.
Okay.
And all the compostable ones are crap. I've done them all. I tested it.
Is this where we're going to see like innovation, you know, in the kind of popular markets, but they're like lacking that quality?
The hard thing is the best ones are always going to be made with aluminium because as soon as you get to compostable and that, you're not getting the same pressure. So when you inject the pod and try to extract the coffee, the pressure drops. It gets less flavor, less body. The aluminium is the way to go if you're doing it.
Yeah, okay.
If you're going to kill the planet, just, you know, make sure it tastes good.
Yeah, all right. Aluminum.
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 Oh, it's aluminum.
KB, yeah.
Aldi is going to double their coffee sales this year if they keep their prices at that $15 a kilo mark. Because more and more people are going to be going to that. They just won the best supermarket coffee in the world last year for their Lazio blend. More and more people are buying home machines. So that coffee sale is going to skyrocket.
I feel like they should give us a fucking royalty or something right now. We're helping sell that. We're helping sell that coffee. But I agree that it will. You'll see more people go towards that, and they will. I don't think it'll stay the same price given the current conditions of the market, but it'll remain probably significantly cheaper than others, and they'll probably increase their price by less than others. But yeah, I agree with you.
I wonder with all those, when you see the prices so low, like, are they just this loss leader thing, right? Like, is it just to get people in the door? Like, do they have certain items that just get people in? It happened with the milk in all the Woolies and Coles and that kind of stuff. You see it overseas with like your Costco hot dogs and that kind of stuff. Like, I had Uber drivers that they were like, I'm like, what are you doing after this? They're like, I'm driving to Costco to get my lunch. I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, it's $1 for a hot dog. Go get 5 hot dogs and away we go.
I went to the Costco for the first time, like with my girlfriend, and she's like, man, you can get like pizzas here and stuff like that. She's Canadian, so she knows all about Costco, but yeah, you can get some serious Alfredo food at Costco.
Now, that brings us to the end of our predictions. We'll come back at the end of the year. We'll hear those. We'll play them back and see if we're geniuses or, as more likely, just a bunch of idiots. But there's one more scandal that must be addressed that you have written down here.
Well, I didn't appropriately plan for this. I actually left my phone on charge in the office, which is required for this bit. Should I go get it or and address the scandal, or we just park that one for next week?
Just park it. Oh, a little bit of sizzle for next week.
Okay, right.
We'll park the scandal.
There's a scandal next week involving breakfast shirts, of all people. Breakfast shirts, I'm after you.
No. I love
Scandal.
that man.
Yeah, I know, but he's involved in a scandal. I'm not saying he committed the scandal, but he's implicated in the scandal. There's a scandal, he's involved in the scandal.
Okay.
Scandal. I wanted to see how many times I can say that.
The moment you've all been waiting for.
Nervous.
Can I ask you to go backwards from like smallest percentage?
I'll just say before we get started doing this, I'm nervous for this.
Yeah.
I've plugged a lot of my, success, content, bits.
Yeah. Well, you just got
to being Italian.
You just got that new Instagram handle, Kirko the Italiano. So
It's true.
It's true.
So we're watching that. And for those listening at home that are new to this, basically I said some things about Italy that I think are true, where I was, just the espresso's no good there. Mocha pot isn't any good, or stovetop coffee. And Kirk was having a go at me for hating Italians, which I don't. There were just two opinions that I had. And then Kirk wanted to claim that his, what percent?
6.25%.
6.25%.
Look, it might even be more.
So, okay. So what are you predicting your percentage of Italian is as we go into this?
Well, if it's 6.25% on that side, then I reckon there's like a smidgen on the other side. So let's get 9%. I reckon there's one more.
9%.
One more wog up in the mum side.
All right. Well, drum roll, please. Starting at 1%. Russia. In Soviet Russia,
Really?
Kirk make coffee for you.
Yet. Okay, I'm Russian.
And then coming in the next spot, 2%, Spanish.
Mis actividades favoritos son fútbol australiano.
Yeah, well, obviously you knew that. Then 7%. I don't know how this works. Is it like, I thought this was part of like the UK.
Well, my Italianism is like more than 6%, which I'm, happy.
Well, it's 7%. We have Cornwall.
Cornwall?
Yeah.
The fuck is Cornwall?
I think it's like connected to the UK. It's like a part, like another province or something.
It sounds very UK. So I'm 7% Pommy.
Well, no, just this Cornwall section.
Cornwall. So, okay.
Coming in at 7%.
Oh no, please.
Bonjour.
What's that?
Français? French. French.
Oh my gosh.
Weird. I have a French I'm going to really throw my girlfriend under the bus here. I've got a French alter ego named Jacques.
Yeah. Oh, wait.
Why does
Can I
that throw your
ask
girlfriend
before we get to this next one? Can I ask? Did you know any of these? Did you know you were Spanish or Russian or French?
No idea.
Wow. Okay. I mean, that's big news.
Yeah, this would be news to my family.
Coming in at a whopping 13%. German. German. 9.
Whoa!
Coming in at 17%. Ireland. 20% English and 33% Scottish.
I'm Scottish.
0% Italian. 0%. Yes. Yes. It's over. It's over. Oh my God. For those not listening, Kirk has just doused himself with 2 liters of water. He's Scottish. He's a sexy bastard.
A sexy bastard.
0% Italian.
Yeah, you're missing the your victory lap, or
There is the breakdown for you to see. So you are terrible just like me, you un-Italian son of a bitch. I love it. Can we get some photos? We need here for this story, like what just happened here.
yeah, sure, no worries. Yeah, I'll play some sad Italian music for now.
So
My whole life's a lie.
here you go. Concession speech with the Italian music going.
I want an appeal. My whole life's been a lie. My dad lied to me. You know, he was lied to. I mean,
Ma che buio.
what the fuck is this music? I mean, I thought I was Italian. I thought I could roam the streets saying, prosciutto. I thought, and like I'm just a fucking spud-eating English person, really.
Yeah.
Like I'm like the perfect. I'm exactly what I said I was at the start of the podcast. I'm a convict.
Yeah, Scottish, English.
I'm like, and it's not even like, this is an eye opener for me.
Yeah,
This is. I don't know how to feel. This.
It then has your journey. So you want to hear the convict side. Devon, Dorset, Somerset. That's where you came from. And then big dotted line heading over to Queensland.
Oh.
And to Adelaide, South Australia. So do you know any of this heritage? Yeah. So that's where where people first migrated from Europe to Australia.
He's just fucking having the time of his life. I just have a whole life updated. You delivered the blow perfectly.
And your great-great-grandfather was Jack the Ripper. No, I turned off any of the family heritage. I didn't want anyone reaching out to me from your past or something. Because it says Rowan on here. I've got it on my account, so they think it's me.
Well, maybe there's grounds for appeal there.
Yeah.
But, I don't know what to say. I'm shocked.
Yeah.
I'm shocked. I can't do that bit anymore. I can't be the Italian anymore.
Yeah.
You're right.
And it's the happiest day. I've never met this smile ear to ear. And I just kept leading him up going, and next at 13%. And he was just waiting for the Italian each time.
You really had him at 7. 7 was there.
Well, I'm cooking. I'm thinking I'm more French than I am Italian. What the fuck?
Yep. You are more French. You're a
more
croissant,
German?
baguette eating. Yeah, you're more Germanic. So I just looked up accuracy of the reading from Ancestry.com. 99% each marker tested. So you got a 1% chance hope that you're Italian there. So what happens now? Do you go back to your dad and be like, we need to do some digging?
Well, I mean, I think
I love that you're just soaking wet.
Look, forget about my dad right now. I need to go back to the drawing board. I had a whole, thing for the podcast there, and for my everyday life that is now gone.
Yeah,
that you just destroyed. But thank you. But it's. I mean, I guess it's not all bad news because I do have a Scottish accent. I do the best Scottish accent you've ever known. And this will make a feature in the podcast. More for nail.
Oh, yeah, now you can.
I'll turn you into haggis.
Oh my God. What have I done? This is worse. This is worse.
I could crush you like a worm.
Oh, no.
Braveheart fans here? Any Braveheart fans?
You know, I was actually
Well,
surprised.
yeah, Wallace.
That was good.
I was surprised that no South African came through.
Well, I could have worked with some of that. I really could have. You
Yeah.
know, I could have got along with Russell Towers so much better. You know, shout out to Russ. Okay, all right. Well, I'm going to be better now.
Yeah.
I'm going to reform after this. I've got to make new plans.
Yeah, you can no longer.
I've got to dry my shirt before I walk home.
Should we
as
go
well.
some Jalong Bao after this? What are you thinking?
Man,
Now you're jumping on the train.
I'm thinking pigeon pie with a stout ale.
Connect with my roots.
Well, guys, I have to say that brings us to the end because we're about to jump on a very important business call in the next 10
And
minutes.
I'm going to be soaking fucking wet for it.
Oh my God, we have like a client call with a prospective like client coming up, and you're just going to be drenched in water.
Although
We're
I
not
just
gonna
like
address
sit next to
anything.
Liam off screen. For that
Yeah,
one.
maybe that's the idea for it, but that's
Promise you, I'm a
exciting.
consummate professional.
And hopefully we'll have some updates on that coming in the following week. But thank you for joining us for 2025. We've got some big plans for this year. This made me so happy. Kirk, thank you for coming back. Thank you for drenching yourself. And thank you for being 0%, not even 0% Italian. If you want to reach out to us, you can hit us at hello@itsjustcoffeepod.com. Hit us up on the socials. Let us know what you want to see from us. Kirk, anything from you? Any final Italiano words?
Au revoir now.
I'm Rohan Cooke.
Hello, I'm Kirk Pearson.
And it's just coffee. I eat because I'm unhappy, and I'm unhappy because I eat. I'm just kidding. I'm dead sexy. Oh, he's shirtless. He's ripped.
He shed his Italian ways. He's shedding
That was such a
everything.
nice shirt.
This is where I go. This is where I leave. It was the Kmart shirt, by the way.
Even worse for the interview that we've got.
Even worse. All right, goodbye. That was what an end.